Basketball people, we have news. Let's go to more news about the Golden State Warriors. I ask you to give a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, as I am a Warriors fan. The Warriors have made few moves, and upgrades will be needed to improve the roster, especially adding a center and a defensive wing. The Warriors are about to sign Al Horford. Al Horford's signing will put line through one potential Warriors trade target. This trade idea won't be happening. The center position at the Golden State Warriors has been a source of uncertainty for a long time, often leading to trade speculation and wide-ranging proposals in the hopes of solidifying the big man rotation. Nothing epitomized that more than the constant discussion around Nikola Vucevic last season, but all the trade speculation should be put to bed, at least in the short term, once the Warriors sign Al Horford as expected in free agency. For the moment, the trade speculation is continuing, including a hypothetical trade that would see Golden State land arguably the most available contracted big man, outside Vucevic, on the market. Nick Claxton. Al Horford's signing should take Warriors out of the center trade market. Derek Parker of Sports Illustrated has proposed that Golden State trade Moses Moody and Buddy Hield in exchange for Claxton, who is starting the second year of a descending contract at $25.4 million next season. There's a chance he could tap into his previously Defensive Player of the Year level defense and efficient scoring in the Warriors' core, especially alongside Steph Curry, Draymond Green, Jimmy Butler, and more, Parker wrote. Claxton would deliver the Warriors an athletic big man capable of throwing down lobs and finishing in the paint, while being an impactful rim presence and shot blocker on the other end. He averaged 10.3 points, 7.4 rebounds, and 1.4 blocks last season, but his previous 2 years may be more indicative of his production given the tanking nature of the Nets from January onwards. Over those 2 seasons, Claxton averaged over 12 points, over 9 rebounds and over 2 blocks per game. He also received Defensive Player of the Year votes in 2023, while also shooting a career-high 70.5% from the floor during the same season. As helpful as Claxton may be, any potential interest from the Warriors is likely to dissipate once Horford officially signs. Golden State will probably be content entering the season with Horford and youngsters Quinton Post and Tracy Jackson-Davis, while also having Draymond Green as a small ball 5 option. Even if they did want to add another big, they're unlikely to invest 2 rotation players in a trade and acquire someone who still has 3 years and nearly $70 million left on their contract. The Warriors have scarcely spent big on the center position throughout the last decade, preferring to maximize their perimeter play, led by Curry, while finding cheaper, role-playing big men who can fit into the system. Horford is set to provide just that even at his advanced age, essentially putting a line through the idea of Golden State trading for Claxton and practically any big man making more than $15 million next season. DeAnthony Melton close to Warriors move, and could bring back what Draymond Green said he'd miss. DeAnthony Melton could return to the Golden State Warriors for the 2025-26 season. It was Steve Kerr who pushed for Melton to join the team in 2024-25, by bringing in the former Philadelphia 76ers guard. Melton signed a 1-year contract, and things started great until he partially tore his ACL. He decided on surgery to avoid any long-term issues and was later dealt to the Brooklyn Nets as part of the trade that brought Dennis Schroeder to Golden State. The Warriors are close to signing DeAnthony Melton from the Nets, which may please Draymond Green. DeAnthony Melton is expected to fully recover from his surgery last November, and there are growing suggestions that he could re-sign with the Golden State Warriors. Brian Windhorst has reported that the Warriors are close to finalizing deals for both Melton and veteran center Alabama Horford. The deals are likely to be completed once the club makes a decision on Jonathan Kuminga's future, with negotiations still ongoing. Warriors legend Draymond Green was clear at the time that Melton was a good signing, something that could now help pave the way for his return. What he was bringing to this team was great, so we'll miss that. But what we'll miss more is just his presence around, his attitude, his demeanor every single day. Always smiling, never upset about anything, just always bringing great vibes, he told ESPN. You hate to see a young guy in a contract year go through this, Green added. But I know the imprint he's already left on this organization. He'll have an opportunity to come back and hopefully he'll decide that's the right thing for him. Melton's stats for the Dubs. At 27, Melton still has plenty of time to make his mark with the Golden State Warriors, and it looks like he's about to get another chance. Across those 6 appearances, Melton posted solid numbers: 10.3 points, 3.3 rebounds, and 2.8 assists per game. He also contributed on defense with 1.2 steals over an average of just over 20 minutes a night. The team struggled after he went down early in the season, so it's no surprise that the idea of him coming back is going over well inside the locker room. Warriors must act fast to avoid disaster scenario with Jonathan Kuminga. The Jonathan Kuminga could quickly take a turn for the worst. The Golden State Warriors are staring down an off-season development that could put years of team building at risk. The Warriors are still a championship hopeful, but the opportunity to further the development of a key young player in Jonathan Kuminga isn't the only potential loss they must prepare for. It's entirely possible that Kuminga will return to play for Golden State in 2025-26, but if he does so by accepting his qualifying offer, it would devastate the front office's grand vision. The Kuminga saga has become one of the most polarizing chapters in recent Golden State Warriors history. A profoundly talented scorer whose structural fit is no longer viewed in a favorable light, a tepid market and a shared history of regrettable decisions has created the blueprint for disaster. Per Fred Katz of The Athletic, a rival executive identified the nightmare scenario the Warriors must do everything they can to avoid: Kuminga accepting his qualifying offer. If he takes the qualifying offer, the Warriors are from a team-building standpoint, because they need to get him on a deal where they can trade him, the executive said. That's the key for them. Kuminga would be leaving millions of dollars on the table, but the Warriors would effectively lose the opportunity they may be dreaming of to flip the 22-year-old for an impact player. Jonathan Kuminga accepting qualifying offer would crush Warriors' trade ambitions. Golden State extended a $7.9 million qualifying offer in order to ensure Kuminga would enter the offseason as a restricted free agent. It was an inevitability, as the Warriors can now match any offer that the up-and-comer receives. Moreover, Golden State is now in a position to receive assets if Kuminga departs via a sign-and trade rather than losing him for nothing at all. Unfortunately, the one. Jonathan Kuminga could get $125 million contract according to NBA executive. The dust has settled on NBA free agency and only a few good options remain. Jonathan Kuminga is one of them. The restricted free agent has spent his last 4 seasons in Golden State and now is at a crossroads. Kuminga's value was up and down during the year, so it's hard to determine a consensus number for his contract. The Athletic polled 16 people who work in NBA front offices about what Kuminga's new deal should look like. One executive said the forward should get a 5-year, $125 million deal. He used Jaden McDaniels' 5-year, $131 million deal as a barometer to assess Kuminga's value. McDaniels is great in his role, but JK is more talented and has higher upside if he can ever hit, the executive said. That deal would be a massive win for the 22-year-old forward. Kuminga averaged 15.6 points and 4.6 rebounds last season, where he was a high-usage player for some games and benched in others. The Athletic also reported that the Warriors have looked for sign-and-trade options but haven't had success. That would be the best way for Kuminga to get a big deal and Golden State recoup some value. Restricted free agency gives Golden State some leverage, but if Kuminga was to fetch a deal close to $125 million, it would likely come from another team. The Warriors don't have the cap space. Kuminga's value may be high according to some, but he may be forced to take a lesser deal because of cap constraints.